Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Good.
What's
going on, Bob?
I got to clear the air here on something.
Anything
I got to clear the air. No, forget about that. Steinmetz is sitting over here quietly preparing for his show, but I went on TV the other night, and I do a quarter in the preseason with Bob Fitzgerald and the Kalina.
Okay.
And I made a comment about Steph Curry being the best face of a franchise ever. I got that from Steinmetz. Just so the public... Steinmetz, that needed because I will say this. I said someone told me, but I didn't say Steinmetz. He was furious.
You didn't give him on-air credit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't give him on-air credit. I didn't know that was such a... I thought he was a low-key, didn't need that, but I guess he does need it.
Is your career made? Is this the high moment of your career right now that we're experiencing? No, it's not.
Not even close.
Well, it's funny because
coming
Steph
up at noon,
Curry,
what beat that? We'll find out from that side.
Steph Curry's the best thing that ever happened to his career.
That's
so
true.
This is kind of having it go full circle.
It's kind of true for Bob too. Actually,
that's the only thing. It's the only thing I had to say. Now you can ask any question. I just had to make sure I got that out.
All right, perfect. So how was your Saturday?
Yeah, you been busy? What's going on, Bob?
What the hell? There wasn't enough going on. Tennessee's beating Alabama. The Dodgers are leaving the playoffs, and here come you guys to be like, hold our beer.
You don't want to work on a Saturday if you can avoid it. That was a lot of good action on that day. We didn't want it on a Saturday. They didn't want it either. It's not a great day to, I guess for a news cycle too, you guys know, rather have it in the middle of the week. But the deals were essentially, the work was done way before that. When you see deals announced, usually that's not the day they get done.
Right.
You may or may not know that, but those deals were getting done that week, and then they just happened to mostly get done Thursday, Friday, but not signed and sent to the league and all those things. So, and you nitpick about little things in contracts. So smart not to release it to the public, but especially we didn't want them. They didn't want them. We didn't want it both on the same day, but it doesn't matter. They're both signed up. They're happy. We're happy, and missed a lot of the football stuff. Missed the Dodgers stuff.
That was a good one.
It was a good day
to see Dodgers go down. So the way I'm envisioning is because all we talked about, Jordan getting the bag, the extension, and then Wiggins. I'm imagining that Poole's walking out of your office and Andrew just happens to be there. Hey, Bob, if you're not busy, I'll sign.
Yeah.
I mean,
why do you guys think? It's interesting because I heard those narratives that Wiggins wasn't going to get done. What was that based on? I'm sure you guys talked about it. I'm just because I heard that too, and I thought when we signed him, everybody said, "I never saw this coming."
I don't know where that thing came out.
Why? Because we weren't talking about it.
So that's probably one aspect. Steve Kerr has literally said in front of a microphone, like we're thinking that Jordan Poole is going to be a big part of our future, and the Wiggins thing, to me at least, just as an observer, it felt more complex. It felt like. Right, we just saw him become what he was going to be at the end of last year. So if he could do that for a full year this year, man, what money could be waiting for him like that? My reaction was, wow, Andrew took that. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's phenomenal. Like, that is such a credit to the organization because he clearly wanted to be here. Because, let's be honest. Like, if he plays like he did for the last month of last season for a full year, someone's going to offer him more than that. Mm-hmm. That's the truth, right?
Yeah, and I think no deadline. He had no deadline also. Poole had a deadline. And Steve was getting asked a lot more about Poole, as was I and everybody, because he has the deadline of today. And Wiggins wasn't. If he didn't get done, you could have done it next week, the week after. Right. I think we both decided, him and his agents and Andrew, let's try to get it done before the season. And so it was a soft deadline. But, to what you said, Mark, it's a credit to him, his teammates, his coaches, the fans, the community. I don't think we talk enough about how much players like playing in this community. We have pretty amazing fans. They're very, they're into it, good or bad. They care. And as a player, I think, not that I played, but being in a market where there's such a frenzy about the basketball team, and it's been that way even when the team wasn't doing these things. I think players like that. And when these guys are walking around town and in communities, our fans are really nice, engaging people. And so that mattered to Andrew. He likes it here. He's having a good time. He's played in other organizations. He played in one organization, but for many different coaches. So, happy to have him, and I can see why maybe it wasn't as expected.
And also the notion of what you have now on the books for next year, with Draymond's contract and what Clay makes and Steph makes what he makes, and now you add these two contracts to the mix. Is it tough thinking about what that number is going to be like from a luxury tax standpoint? And was that something that you had to kind of sell Joe Lacob on a little bit in terms of, hey, Joe, your salary and the tax next year is going to be $500 million. What do you think, Joe?
It didn't happen like that. I didn't do it like that. That's not how I do it.
And by the way, Joe, while you're passing,
when you're trying to get somebody to do something, you don't say $500 million. That doesn't help. You know,
did you hit them up for
trying to say like these are changeable things. You know, you don't do it.
4.99.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, right. Like that feels better, right? Like $4.99, $500 million. Don't throw $1 billion. So yeah, look, it's interesting now. When I grew up here, one, I didn't even know who the GM was. I kind of knew a little bit who the owner was. The sophistication level of the media, you guys and the fans, has never been higher. Some people love the salary cap, and they love projecting all these things, which is fine and new and important. And you guys do it in baseball, you do it in football. So it's always an interesting thing. What I've learned is that, and I said this yesterday to the media, it's never been more fluid as far as year to year in the NBA. In my opinion, you might think differently with the shorter deals, with the fact that players, the impatience level, the money, all these factors, even impatience of owner and management, moving guys in and out when you don't win. So we made a decision to put whatever the best team we could on the floor this year and then see what happens. It doesn't, that doesn't make for a great soundbite as far as what are we going to do next year. But realistically, I don't know what we're going to do next year yet. We have ideas if how things go. If somebody would have told me last year we're going to pay Poole and Wiggins this, I would have said, no, we're not doing that. So it's something we look at, we talk about internally, but it's also the idea, Dibs, that it changes, right? It'll depend on what this year is. But bottom line, yeah, our owner is willing to spend a lot of money. And I'm lucky to work for a guy like that. And the fans, I don't know if you guys talk about it. It's not because I work for him. It's rare that an owner would commit this much financial into a team. It is not normal.
Bob, with that answer, and also knowing, again, you guys are stressing it's about this year, and I'll, we'll fully accept the idea that who knows what's going to happen in the future. But I think you're also very aware of how a fan is going to process what we've seen, and it feels based on those decisions combined with Joe Lacob's comments in the offseason that, like, gosh, I don't know, we pay everybody. So if a fan is looking at this and going, okay, this feels like the big three might not be able to finish their career in Warriors uniforms, what would you say to that? I
would say to that fan, enjoy the season and tune in at the end of the season. And you can have these worries or anxieties or thoughts, and I love our fans, and they're allowed to do that. But I would tell that fan, we'll see what happens. I mean, I would tell the same fan at the start of last year, you guys going to win it? I don't know what you guys thought. I mean, I thought it was going to be pretty challenging. But I do think that we sometimes, and maybe I'd ask you guys, do we look too far ahead now in sports? Like, especially for this, I'm personally making these decisions with our group and our owner. I'm trying to enjoy this season. Literally, like when we win the championship, we won it in June. We had the draft. We had the parade on Monday. We had the draft on Thursday. We had free agency on Wednesday. My whole life is set up to look forward. I'm even trying to say, look, the fans listening to this or watching, teams like this don't come along very often. This team, this year, we can worry or think about what the future might hold. No one knows. I don't know that. Nobody knows. The players don't know it. Coaches don't know it. It makes for an interesting kind of conversation at the bar. But at the bar, I'd be watching this year's team, and the other part would be in the back of my mind. But I can't tell fans what if they want to worry about that. Can't stop them.
But fans worry about a lot, and obviously, bottom line is the fans all want what we got last June, which is a championship. And then we see what we saw with the leaked video and the incident, and we saw the way that you as an organization handle it. How did you guys go about figuring out how to navigate it? And I know the decision you made, some fans agree, some fans don't. I'm sure internally some people agree and some don't. It's an impossible situation to appease everyone, no matter what you would have done with Draymond, to Draymond, etc. Talk about the process, though, and how difficult that was, and maybe if you could take us not all the way inside, but some insight into just how you guys went about reaching that decision.
Well, it's like you said, there's not a blueprint for any of it, and it's not. Start up by saying it's not something anybody wants to deal with or welcome. But you land in that situation, you have to deal with it. I would say if you two were players of substantial import, or the owner or the coach, we're sitting here not with the microphone on and say, what do you think we should do? And everybody comes from a different place. Maybe you're the player. Maybe you're a player. Maybe you're Jordan. Maybe you want to use Steph. and everybody has got an opportunity to voice their concerns privately in small groups, to weigh in. We tried not to put any pressure on any decision. We understood that whatever we did would be met with either internal criticism or external, and obviously that happened. We understood that. But you're right. You have to do that and then do what you think is best and understand that there's, whether it's half or more than half or whatever it is that might agree, might disagree, might continue to disagree, might change their opinion in 10 games or 20 games, or say, well, you go back, you shouldn't have done that, you should have done this differently. I accept all that. I never said we were perfect at making these decisions. I don't think anybody is. I'm lucky to work with Steve Kerr, who's got a pretty solid moral compass. Played in the NBA. He's been in the NBA for, 30 years, whether it's a GM, broadcaster, or coach. And so we had a lot of conversations, and it was difficult, to be honest. It was very difficult, and it remains something we have to continue to work through. But that's the best we can do in any of these decisions. And the good news is, I know what Steve labeled this one as, is we've had moments where the fabric has been tested, and we've found a way to overcome it. And that's the positive. We got a lot of history together, and the hope is that we can get through this in the best way possible.
Warriors GM Bob Myers with us, 95.7 The Game. Where is your confidence level in terms of everybody being able to navigate this as things unfold throughout the season?
I think pretty good, Mark. The reason I say that is not because I'm on the radio talking to you guys, and that's the only thing I could say. It's because I'm in the weight room. I'm down there watching practice, watching scrimmages, watching guys move through our facility, move through our workplace, much like you would, and I don't see or feel some really undercurrent of tension or dislike or enmity around the team. It's a really talented team. It's a team that knows how to win. And like Steinmetz mentioned, we probably do have the best face of the franchise in the history of sports. I believe that. And so Steph sets this tone of we will figure this out. We're in a tough moment, but we'll get through it. And I can't state that enough. He really is the beacon of how we move. And to have him in the building and know that he's going to hold people accountable for his work ethic, for who he is on and off the court, we're so lucky to have that. We really are.
We're one Steinmetz compliment away, by the way, from him being insufferable. So if we can,
I got to find one more.
If we could just tamp
he
that
already
down.
left. I'm actually thinking he quit. I think he quit. Yeah, you want to walk. He did a walk off. Yeah, he left.
Yeah, without a doubt. I asked Mike this earlier, and it's about navigating the roster. How do you find minutes for James and Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, let alone the rooks who you just drafted, who it doesn't feel like any of these guys have any shot really of playing? Where do you find the minutes, Bob?
I don't know. Right now it's going to be hard because there's a lot of good players that are deserving to play, and we're healthy, knock on wood. We haven't been healthy going into a season in a few years, going back with Clay's stuff and some other, whether it was COVID or whatever it was, we weren't healthy. So I think that Steve would tell you it's going to be a little bit of a challenge finding minutes for guys, and they're going to have to be patient. One of the deeper teams we've ever had, and the youth needs to play, but what are you going to do? Not play some of the vets? So it's going to be interesting. We've talked about before on back-to-backs to the young guys play more. Good high-class problem, though, Dibs. I mean, if you want to be honest.
First
better,
world, yeah.
Yeah, better to be saying this with the season starting tomorrow than saying something like, hey, we got to get some players in here. So we got the other side, I think. But it'll be interesting to see. Preseason game was fun for me to watch some of the young guys get a chance to just go play. And I don't know how much Steve's going to play.
Yeah. Bob Myers, Warriors GM with us, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game. Now, before we started this conversation in earnest, you asked for maybe some Michael Thompson stories, Clay's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I bring this up only because I figure you actually can answer, did this actually end up in your locker room? So years ago, Michael Thompson and I are hosting down in L.A., and he had this kind of running narrative, if you will. I think it was Clay was a rookie. Maybe it was Clay's second year. And he had this thing that because he had been an NBA pro, he didn't want Clay's finances to go sideways. So he handled all of the money, and Clay got an allowance. And we would literally ask him, so what was the allowance? And he'd be like, I'll send him a few $100s a month, because what else does he really need? Like, his housing's taken care of, the Warriors feed him. What does he really need? And he would say things like maybe he wants to go on a pizza date or maybe get some ice cream. Yeah. So what do you need? You need $100. I'll give you $100. And he would run it at such a level where he literally had people, if not believing it, at least going, how does this actually work? Like, I mean, he sold it.
Yes.
And it went for months and months until apparently somebody here actually asked Clay about this in the locker room. Like, dude, are you on an allowance from your dad? And he had to answer questions about it.
Yeah.
And then it was then that Michael came on the air the next day and went, are you all the most gullible idiots that I've ever met in my... Did this actually end up in your locker room?
It's a great story.
Okay.
By the way, I don't remember. That's fascinating. The problem, as you're telling that, part of me is thinking, did this actually... I'm one of those people. Because Clay is what... Michael's a guy that would do it. And Clay's a kid that might have been like, Dad, can I get another $100?
Right.
I'm kind of running short.
I got a green light card.
Yeah,
Could
what do you
fill
need
it up,
to-
please?
yeah,
I'd like to get some ice cream.
Yeah, and Michael's going, why do you got to go to ice cream? You went last night. Why aren't you in the gym? No, but I will say we talked off the air a little bit. Michael was more of a father, an overlording parent early on, and now he's since seen Clay grow up. But Michael, I'll tell you what, Michael sat, and I love Michael, by the way. He's great. When I see him, his optimism for the Lakers is all time.
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
every
his
year.
belief in them is every year. You know this, like his. He what did he say one year? He goes, "They're the second best brand in the world." He said, "It's so good." He's such a Laker guy.
Yeah.
But he sat behind me at Game 6, the closeout game in Boston, and so I hadn't really watched a game with Michael before, and he was pretty measured. He wasn't. I don't know if you watched a game with him. Warriors, yeah, you probably did. He was not the crazy dad. So it's interesting to see because you get to know somebody when you watch a game with them sometimes. Like, especially, I mean, I don't know if I don't have a son, but watching my son play in the finals would be pretty intense. But he's pretty cool, pretty chill guy.
I guarantee you, whatever he's doing today, if it's in any media form today and tomorrow, he is telling everybody the Lakers are going to crush the Warriors tomorrow night.
100%.
But my sense is he's rooting for the opposite.
Yeah,
somewhere in the depths of his being.
You guys got to get him on tomorrow. Try to get him on. Get him on tomorrow.
Look at him book the show.
Get him on tomorrow.
Great.
Get him on. Yeah. That'd be fun.
How is Clay, by the way? I know he had his thing where, over the summer, mental block and all that. And I know he's starting to get ramped up again. Is he going to be pretty much a full go, or are we going to measure him a little bit?
I think he won't go those minutes he finished with in the finals, but he'll play. He's going to play. Where that criteria stops and starts, I don't know. It'll probably have to kind of get integrated over a few weeks, maybe, or a week or two. But he's not going to come in and play 40 minutes tomorrow night. I don't know what the minutes will be. He looked pretty good the other night.
Yeah.
But I think it's the stamina now and just getting his legs and things like that. And he's, although he would tell you he can play 35 minutes, but it's not smart to throw him out there like that.
Bob, we appreciate your time so much.
Thanks,
I saved the real doozy for the end.
Give it to me.
Well, listen, sometimes we're obligated to ask the tough questions.
Yeah, bring it.
And you're here, and so here it is.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite 95.7 The Game host?
Oh, boy. Was
Pressure's
Steinmetz
on.
over there?
Yeah.
And he just walked back in.
I mean, look at
He's
Steinmetz.
back. He's back.
You guys should be deferentialists. He's been around before. He's been here a long time. Way back to Mully.
Yeah.
You know what I'll tell you? It probably is Steinmetz. You know why? You guys may have done this in your career. I respect anybody that was on the Warriors beat during those years.
4 straight years under 20 wins.
Yeah, that's come on. Like that, he earned it.
I was a fan in those days, and I know how hard it was.
I mean, come on, think about that.
But we were emotionally scarred by those teams.
No,
he was only professionally scarred by those teams.
No.
He doesn't care.
Go every
he likes
day.
the Hawks or something like that.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's got a reason for liking the Hawks, though. No, favorite. You guys are all great. Come on. You're all great. Guru's, they're Guru's great, too.
No doubt.
Don't you love that guy's
great,
passion?
Guru, too.
Yeah, come on. I mean, you worked. Yeah,
he's the best. He's the best.
He's good.
We say that he is the Steph Curry. It's funny because we all try to. I'm the Steph Curry of 95.7. Guru's the Steph Curry.
I mean, the passion it's actually real. Is that manufactured? Is it real?
No, it's real.
It's real. You got to respect that.
I mean,
I don't have that much. I'm not that passionate about anything.
God knows what he's going to come in here saying today.
You should catch him during the commercial breaks.
I mean, it's going to be a hot mess.
All right, guys.
I'm the best. I'm excited. It's so great.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank
Thank you so
Bob.
much
Thanks,
for coming by.
Okay,
Really appreciate it. All right, there it is. It's the GM of the Warriors, Bob Myers, who, by the way, I would expect it, and Bob, who's still sitting here, Bob and Mike Dunleavy Jr., two of the great non-aging humans on this earth.
Yeah.
I would have expected after the last 10 days for you to
Seriously.
finally show some aging.
Pop some grays.
Still Still no gray hairs.
No.
Yeah,
Still not.
if I do the beard, it comes in.
Don't
Yeah,
look at me like that.
I'm looking at you. What am I supposed to
I'm
look at?
looking at you.
mean-
What do you think? That's red? What is that?
I got
What
some
color?
red over here. Salt and paprika, Bob. I'm a lot older than you now. You
All right,
whippersnapper.
sorry.
that's just-
Didn't you just have a new addition?
Yeah, right here.
Right.
All right, so
Mila,
there you
7
go.
weeks old
You
today.
can't say you're old and then
Good
And
Lord.
then
that's
go
not
have
gonna work.
babies.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Baby's
You can't
trying
have
to
it both
break me,
ways.
Bob. She's trying to break me.
She might.
I mean, your
She
youngest
could.
is what, like
Four.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
dream about her being
Yeah,
4.
no, yeah, that's
My
not.
God.
Yeah, that's a long way away
I
from you.
mean, I was up
Good luck.
last night from 8 p.m. to 1:30.
That's brutal.
Oh, yeah. And all she wanted to do is talk about the Wiggins contract.
Well, yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
She was crying Saturday night too. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Thanks,
Thank
Bob.
you, Bob, GM of the Warriors.